And President-elect Biden is holding a roundtable with healthcare workers on the pandemic today. The meeting comes as his transition team is calling on the Trump administration to provide access to critical information and resources. Faith Abube is in Wilmington, Delaware, with more on this. Faith, good morning. What is Biden's team most concerned about right now when it comes to the delayed transition?
Good morning, Diane. Of course, there are a lot of top concerns, but most urgently is the pandemic. Right now, the Trump administration is refusing to work with the Biden transition team. So right now, the Biden team has not been able to talk to Dr. Fauci or the COVID-19 task force or get any information on Operation Warp Speed or the logistical nightmare distributing a vaccine will be once it's approved. And right now, the Biden team is saying this is hurting them on multiple fronts, including not being able to prepare for what would happen once they take office, including preparing for a potential mask shortage or even figuring out what restrictions should be put in place for these hotspots that are popping up all across the country. We heard earlier that the leaders of several healthcare associations are rebuking the president in an uncharacteristic way, telling him that, hey, you need to really work with the Biden transition team because this is really critical and American lives are on the line.
And President Trump also fired the country's top cybersecurity official after he publicly contradicted the president's false claims about voter fraud. How is the Biden team responding to that news?
So surprisingly, we haven't heard directly from the president-elect himself. However, people close to him are responding to this. ABC News received a statement from one of his spokespeople on the transition team saying that Krebs should be commended for his service in protecting our election, not fired for telling the truth. We also heard from Louisiana Congressman Cedric Richmond, who's going into the upcoming Biden administration as a senior advisor. He says that this firing is dangerous and that the president's behavior should frighten the American people.
And Faith, President Trump's campaign is still fighting legal battles over the election as well. Where do the things stand with those lawsuits?
So overall, these legal battles are going nowhere. They have not been able to prove any sort of widespread voter fraud anywhere. The president, his team, his campaign, as well as some supporters have filed about 18 lawsuits across 5 different states. And so far, 14 of them have either been denied, thrown out, withdrawn, or has some sort of unfavorable outcome for the president. So this is not going very well for them. Even the ones that are outstanding have no chance at all of overturning this election. To give you some perspective, in 2016, President Trump won the state of Michigan by about 11,000 votes. Fast forward to this year, President-elect Biden is projected to win that state with nearly 150,000 votes. So last night, the campaign spokesperson said to ABC News that they are convincingly winning the state of Michigan and that local officials there on the election boards have not found any voter fraud at all. In fact, this is in spite of the president's, quote, desperate lies.
All right, Faith Abube for us in Wilmington, Delaware. Thanks, Faith.